Hey everyone, in this video tutorial we are going to learn how to customize the Creativo Laura template. Okay, so I'm going to presume that you already imported the Creativo Laura template. So we are just going to get started with customizing the look and feel of this great template. Okay, so the first thing I would like to modify here is obviously the header area. As we can see, we have here like a menu, then we have some social icons, we have a logo, and then we have the main menu. Okay. After that, we're going to play around with the slider, and we're going to customize this content as well. The next step would be to actually customize and understand how this section here is generated, as well as the footer and the sidebar. All right, so let's get started. So to customize the header, I'm going to use Elementor. So let's click on Edit with Elementor, and you can notice here that we have Laura header. All right, so let's click on it. Now that the layout has been loaded, we can actually see that there are some different elements that we have here. So for instance, let's say that this is the top bar. This is how I like to call this. This is the top bar, right? So this section here is called the top bar. I can go to the style and I can actually change the color, right? Let's say I want to use something like a dark color. And then I'm going to click on this element here, which is a simple menu, go again to style, and under color, I'm going to use a white color. Okay. We have this separator spacing, which we can play around with its settings. We can increase or decrease the spacing. We can actually change the separator color, maybe to something darker. And if we click here, we can actually see how the layout looks like now with the changes that we created. All right, so we can see the menu very well, but we cannot see the social icons. So let's change them as well. Also, I can show you, if you go to the content with this element selected, simply click on it to select this element. And you can see here under general, we have the actual menu. So we have the option to choose a different menu, or we can change the alignment, and we can also change the layout. Obviously, horizontal is not a very good fit for this. So I'm going to keep the horizontal layout, okay? And I'm going to keep it like left aligned. If I was to position this element here on the right side, obviously I would choose the right alignment, okay? Okay, so now let's click on the social icons. Obviously, we can click on the X button next to each social icon, and we can delete it. Let's see, maybe we don't want to use like WhatsApp. So I did delete that. Now, if I go to the Style tab, under Icon Color, you can see that it's a dark color selected. So I'm going to choose a very bright color, a white color, actually. All right. So now we can actually see the social icons using the newly selected color. We can also play around with the size. The padding is actually something like a spacing, but not just horizontal spacing. It's also affecting the vertical spacing. And there are tons of options which you can play around with here. We have the tooltip that appears on the bottom. We can choose to appear on the left, for instance. Okay. So you should play around with these settings until you're comfortable. Another thing that I want to show you here is that we can actually select this section, all right? The section is the actual container that holds these two elements, which this menu and the social icon menu, social icon element is positioned in, are positioned in two different columns, okay? So this is a section with two columns. Let me show you here what I mean. I can click on this this plus sign, okay, and I can actually select the layout I want to use for a section. In this case, for the top bar, the top section here, I'm using two-column layout, something like this. We have the menu, and then we have the social icons positioned on the right. Right. So now that we made this change, I want to change another great element on this header, which is the logo. One thing I forgot to mention is that if you don't want to use like this top bar here, we can actually click on this delete this X button, and you can see that that section was removed. Now to bring that back, let's say that I made a mistake, I can press on my keyboard Control Z, which is undo, or Command Z on your Mac. All right, so you can see that we have now the two columns and the section that holds them appearing correctly. Okay, so let's move on to the logo. I'm going to click on this element, this image here, and now you can see we have here the edit site logo. This is an element, okay? And we have like two options here. We have the logo, we have the retina logo. And if you click on this element, you can actually upload a new logo. Let's say I want to use like this signature. All right. So this is how the new logo will appear on our site, which is actually pretty cool. Now the retina logo should actually be the same image as the default logo, but it should have twice the size. So if this logo here, let's see, it has 272 by 88 pixels. Now the retina logo should be twice this size, meaning like 454 by 176, right? So that's twice this size. And the reason for that is that on retina enabled devices, images are actually using 2 pixels to display instead of 1, all right? Default devices, Windows devices, are actually using 1 pixel for 1 pixel to display, while retina uses 2 pixels for 1 pixel. This is a convention, and this is something you should remember. All right, so remember that the retina logo should always be twice the main logo. I'm going to delete this retina logo since I don't have a retina logo for this image here. All right, now you can play around here with the actual size. You can simply delete it. If you don't want to use this, simply leave this blank to actually inherit the actual size of the logo. This is the default size of the image, all right? So that's pretty much it. I'm going to click update before we are going to move on to this section, which is the menu. I'm going to click update. And now I want to go to view page. And let's go to dashboard and view site. So as you can see now, the entire header, this section here, the logo and the top menu with these social icons have been updated with our changes. So this is pretty cool. Okay, let's go back to edit the header. Again, edit with Elementor and click on Laura header. And this will apply for all the Creativo templates that are created with Elementor. Okay, so now we can see that we have here like a different section, okay, which is this menu and again this search icon, okay. So I'm going to click on this menu here, and I can actually customize it by changing changing the actual menu. For instance, if you have created your own menu under appearance menus, every menu that you created there will appear here as a selection, as a possible selection, okay? So I'm not going to change the menu because I only have like 2 menus. This is the top menu and the home menu. So I'm going to simply play around with the styling. Now you can see we have here the menu items align. This will not make any change because this menu is actually set. If you go to advanced, under width, we have this option called inline, because I want the menu and this search icon to appear as inline elements. Inline means that elements using this option, the inline option, will try to always appear on the same line. If I deactivate this, now you can see that we have the menu on top and the search icon below it, and this is not something that I want to do. Okay, so keep inline. Now let's say I want to play around with the styling. Okay, this is an option like called strike through. This is how the menu pointer is being used. You can play around with all the settings here. You can play with the typography. This is the link colors. All right, maybe I want to use like, I don't know, maybe a blue color by default. Okay, if you go to the hover tab, you have the link color, which will inherit the hover state. If I go on, make it red, you can see that when you hover your mouse on hover effect, okay, the actual menu item that is being selected becomes red, because this is the color that we selected here. And there are a bunch of options which you should experiment with for the main menu, for the sub menu, as well for the mobile menu. But in this case, you will notice that this section here, all right, this one, the one with the menu and this search icon, will actually not appear on mobile, and there's a good reason for that. You can also see here we have this grayed out section. Okay, so this is the section that will appear for mobile devices. If I go here under responsive mode and go to tablet, you can see now that we have the top section has become like grayed out, which means it won't appear. All right, if I collapse this element, you can see how the actual mobile menu will appear. All right, if I go back to desktop, I can see our default desktop layout. But on responsive, the tablet, and as well as mobile, we have a different layout. And this is a great way to create like custom layouts for mobile devices and custom layouts for your desktop devices. All right, Elementor allows that, and Creativo as well. With all the elements that we created, this is a very big step forward. Okay, so another element that we can modify here is this search icon. So by default, you can see here we have the form style, which is using a pop-up effect. All right, when you click on it, it will pop up. But I can also use the classic layout. Okay, and classic means that a small search form will appear once we click this icon here. Okay, again, you can play around with the settings. You can choose like a different icon. You can play around with the size. This actually, the search icon size, what is it? Well, this actually, this one will determine the actual height of the section. Okay, this is very important. So if I want this section to have like 70 pixels, you can see I selected 17. I have to go for this menu, and let's see, where is that? Okay, so we have to go to typography, and under line height, we can enter 17 again. All right, so now we can see that they are all using like the same height. Okay, I'm going to revert these changes again for this one as well. I'm going to enter 50 because this was a default value. All right, you can change the color. Maybe I want to use like this red color for whatever reasons. So this is how we actually customize the header. All right, now we can move on to the another thing I want to show you here. If you click on this element, this section here, and then we go to advanced, you can see here the enable sticky position. What this does is that on scroll, this section will become sticky. And this is very cool because we want users to be able to navigate the site regardless if they are on top of your site or at the bottom. Okay, so you can actually move to the tablet and play around with the settings here. This is a mobile menu using a hamburger icon. Okay, and you can actually change the icon size if you want, make it bigger, smaller, change the color. And if you click on it, you can actually see how the mobile menu will appear. All right, so I can change the background of the mobile menu, as well as the separators, right? Something like that, dividers. I don't know, maybe go with whatever color you feel comfortable using. And then the icon color, we can actually, oh, sorry, this was the icon color for the mobile menu. All right, let's make it red. Sorry. Okay. So, you know, you can actually choose like a different logo for the mobile. Let's say that you can see that we have a different logo for the desktop and then a different logo for the mobile. And this is very cool because maybe on mobile you want to use like a smaller logo. And let's say that maybe I want to decrease the spacing of this logo. You can see that this section actually uses a 3-column layout. I can simply go here, select this column by clicking on the icon, and you can see here we have the column width of 9. Well, we can change this to maybe use a 20. Remember that all these 3 columns, the sum of these 3 columns in width should not be over 100 because that's the maximum value. All right, so let's say I want to make this like maybe a 20. I want to make this maybe a 60, and this one a 20 as well. So the layout is kept, but you can see that the actual width of the centered column is a bit smaller. Maybe this is something you want to do. Okay, so this pretty much concludes how we can modify the header. Okay. You can obviously add more elements here, or you can create your own layout. You can actually use maybe a logo on the left and the menu on the right. If that's the case, we can simply do that by like adding a new column here. Make sure this logo is left aligned. I'm simply going to copy this menu element, paste it here. You can see that, well, we don't have enough space. Well, no problem. I can simply drag this column, and you can see that now the menu is on the same line. Another thing that I want to show you here is if you click on the section and we go here on the vertical line, we can choose middle. Now we have the menu perfectly aligned with this logo. All right. Next, let's go here. Let's go to style and choose right. And also under advanced, make sure that we use the default. Okay. I'm going to click on this one here, and I can actually delete it. All right. I don't want to use this anymore. I can actually delete it entirely. So that's pretty much it. I'm going to click update. Let's go exit to dashboard, and let's view our site now. You can see that now we have the logo on the left and our menu on the right. Okay, so this menu is no longer sticky. The entire section is no longer sticky. We can easily create that by going again with edit with Elementor, click on Laura header, click on the section, advanced, and make sure to enable the sticky position. Okay. So it is enabled. I'm going to hit update. Again, exit to dashboard and view site. And you can see that now when we scroll down, we can have, you see that the section is sticky, but we didn't actually set the background for it. And that's why we have the elements transparent. Let's go back. Edit the header, the Laura header, click on the section, go to style, background type, I'm going to choose classic, and for color, I'm going to use white. And I'm going to do something else. I'm going to go to border, and I can actually set like a box shadow, or I can just use a solid border type for the bottom area. All right, so I'm going to click on border type solid. I'm going to unclick this, and for the bottom I'm going to click 1, And let's choose a color for our border. Okay, so this is pretty neat. I'm going to click update, exit to dashboard, and view our site. And that's it. This is the new logo. This is the new header that we created. The logo on the left and the menu on the right. And you can see that it's completely solid on scroll because we set that background color. Okay, so this is the first tutorial. The next tutorial will be with the content here and the slider and the content, followed by the posts, sidebar, and of course the footer. Okay, thank you for watching. See you next time.